Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Wow. Okay, you know what? I want to actually get into the center of the story, or the most important one that I think, and that is the Eli and Lonnie story. I gotta sit there and ask the question. What the hell is Lonnie thinking? First, she asks her, I guess at the time, boyfriend to, kind of cover for her with the whole Kristen escaping. This dude could have lost his job. He actually could have went to jail. And he did that for her because she asked. She used her relationship to help her friend. And at that point, I would have been like, yo, I'm good. I don't really, need to be with you ever. I mean, first of all, I would hope someone that's with me would never ask me to compromise my principles like that. Because that's literally what she did. Somehow he said, F it, I'm gonna marry her. Okay, wow. And then in today's episode, because the DA is looking, she doesn't want just logs and stuff like that. She wants video evidence of what happened that day. And so, you got Eli and Lonnie sitting there just looking at the footage of Lonnie just walking out Kristen, just walking her out the door, out the front door, just whatever. And, Lonnie's like, should I be worried? I mean, you're not saying anything. Tell me something. Should I be worried? Should you be worried? You pretty much at this point, you just help a criminal just walk right out the door. Should you be worried? So he was like, at this point, you're screwed. You are screwed. And she was like, well, what if she just didn't see the evidence? What if it just, just disappeared? I think at this point, me and Eli just looking at her like, what? what does that mean? What are you talking about? And she's like, well, you know what? I pretty much can't go to jail because, I'm having twins. And, how about you just sit at your desk, close your eyes, and you pretend you didn't say anything. This way your hands are clean. What the What am I watching? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Listen, at this point, even if she didn't ask that and he gave her the evidence, there's still a good chance that he may get swept up in your mess. Apparently that's not enough. And she grabs him and she holds him. She's like, I know I shouldn't be asking you this, but, I don't know what to do, I mean, if you could just, just look the other way. I don't even know what to say to that. But that's not true. I don't know what to say to that doesn't involve any four-letter words. Because that's literally all I'm sitting there thinking at this point. I'm just like, wow. Poor Eli. Poor Eli. He really deserves better. That's really all I'm going to sit there and say. So anyway, after the DA talks to, I think her name is Trash or Trash. I think that's her name. I'm just going to call her a DA. After the DA talks to Abe or whatever, and Abe pretty much is like, yeah, I think you should kind of just let go of this case because, you got a whole personal vendetta. But she swears up and down that she is not going to let her professionalism compromise. She's not going to let her history compromise her professionalism or something. And so after a good, long, lengthy talk, Abe is like, you know what? That's all I can ask. Side note, I feel like Abe and Marlena are very similar. You know, they're one of those. You know, the cool heads prevail. Very like a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people will come to him for advice because they're very like calm and center and just like yeah, calm and center. I feel like they're both very similar in that way. But yeah, and after he's like, I think you should accuse yourself or whatever, and she's like, I'm fine. And he's like, all right, all I can do is that. So she goes back to the station, and she's like, Grant, so you got that footage for me, buddy? And as he's sitting there stalling and stumbling over his words, like, well, you know, the thing is, and then you got Lonnie just comes right out there, here you go. And then you have Eli just sitting there, like, looking at her like, I could have swore I saw Eli just kind of just look at the ground like this is my life at this point. And I think we all know what's going to wind up happening. And by the way, Abe told, and I don't know why he actually did this now I think about this. Abe told the DA that Kristen and Lonnie are friends. And she was like, oh, interesting. I didn't know that. And I'm just sitting there looking at Abe and he's talking. I was like, why did you do that for? Because at this point, it's not going to look biased at all, especially if anything else goes missing. Why did he actually tell her that? I mean, if she would have found out herself, okay, fine, whatever, maybe, but, like, I think she would have tried to cover it up a little bit, like, how was the point of that? Anyway, I guess we're going to sit there and see tomorrow if there's any evidence on there, on that, video surveillance or not. Which I don't think it is, and it's just going to land her in more hot water. I'm sitting there thinking, you know, Eli was like, listen, we'll figure this out together. You know, whatever happens, we'll tell the truth. Whatever it is, we'll deal with it. I'm sitting there thinking, you're just going to make matters a whole lot worse. Go right ahead. Let's just see exactly what happens at this point. It seems like a great idea that just can't fail. Okay, enough of that, because I can just kind of go on forever with that. We got some scenes with, Brady and Marlena. I mean, Brady and Kristen, which, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of found them somewhat pointless. Up until the point where, Kristen asked Marlena if things go south, you know, could you help raise the baby? And at that point, you know, they hugged and, you know, I guess Marlena saw a different side to her a little bit, and yeah. Other than that, really their scenes were kind of pointless. Not gonna lie. And up until this point, and I was sitting there talking with my friend, I was like, you know, Brady's a moron. That's it. That's really what I have. Brady's a moron. But yeah, other than that, I'm not going to lie. Their scenes were just kind of pointless. And speaking of pointless scenes, let's talk about Gwen for a minute. Because Gwen's whole, like, her whole thing in this episode was pointless. Her being there was pointless. She talked to, Chad and Abby about her past because Chad was like, listen, you're going to be watching my kids. We kind of need to know each other a little bit more. So all Gwen does is sit there and say she had a poor, sad, and, well, yeah, I said poor and sad life, but she made the best of it. And that was it. And then throughout the rest of the time, all she did was plot. That was it. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I felt like we could have skipped that whole scene. And her whole, if we would have, yeah, we could have skipped her whole scene. Like, everything. Because it was just pointless to her being there. She didn't do anything. the entire time she's sitting there talking to a painting, talking about how she's gonna plot against Abby, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so, well, first of all, why are you plotting against her? What you don't like about her? And what is your plot? Because it's been an hour, and I didn't hear what your plan is. So her whole... Let me pause it for a second. Her whole point in this show, in this episode, was the plot. About something that we have no idea what it is. So again, entirely pointless. Awesome. Let's talk about Jake real quick, because Jake was... And granted, here's the thing. I was gone for a little bit. I wasn't watching it. So, between the time that he found out he was a DeMero, and he was still, I guess, fully intending on running the garage, and now, out of nowhere, I guess he got hit by the business bug, because now he's all upset that Chad is freezing him out of the company, and he's talking about, it's my birthright or whatever, and I should be part of the family business, and, Chad's all like, no, and for a minute I kind of felt like he was acting like a man-child, but, he is not Philip, and, I don't know, I understood exactly where he was coming from, because he was like, it took me a second, because I was like, are you acting like a man-child, and then I forgot, I wasn't privy to all information, but something along the lines of Chad helping out Gabby try to screw over Jake and Gabby try to screw over Chad, so now Chad is, well, he doesn't trust him. So, honestly, to tell you, he has every right. And, so yeah, that's his whole thing. I mean, that's Jake's whole thing, is to try to get Abby to kind of put in a good word, to be like, listen, Chad, I'm not your enemy. And at first, Abby was kind of upset about the whole Gwen kissing Chad thing, but then, well, Jake just kind of apologized for everything. He just owned up to it, so she was like, alright, you know what, I'll see what I can do. And plus, Jake was like, listen, you don't want to trust Gwen. Okay, if she does something, she's not doing it out of the kindness of her heart. She's doing it for a purpose. Watch your back. And, Abby's like, well, she didn't do anything to, besides the whole kiss thing, she didn't really do anything to me otherwise, so I'm just going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Alright, well, you know what? Excuse me. Something happens, it's on you. That's all I'm going to sit there and say. Because you've been warned. Literally. And that was really about it. I mean, there was some scenes with Kate, but all Kate pretty much said was that, listen, you should probably get Jake a chance, and I'll keep an eye out on him for you. That was it. That was Kate's whole involvement in it. Another person that really didn't add much to the story. I gotta be honest, now that I'm sitting there looking at it, the Gwen, Jake, Chad, Abby, I don't know if and Kate, didn't really do anything in this episode. At all. I felt like they didn't do anything that was of importance. So I guess for a lot of people, it would actually be kind of a boring episode. I didn't think it was boring. I just think that certain people were just pointless being there. And yeah, that's it. That is it. So yeah, let me know what you thought of this episode. Do you feel bad for Eli? Do you think he deserves better? Do you think that his wife is actually being selfish for, what, the second time now? I don't understand. It's like, we're going to cover it up. We're going to make things worse. We're going to be the primary suspects. But no. I'm saving myself from going to prison. Wow. Anyway, that's all I got to sit there and say about this episode. Let me know what you thought of this episode. And, yeah, have a great day. And be safe. I know it's something I usually say, but I don't remember what it is. So,